Do you ever have the impression that you are always trying to catch up with time and that you hardly have time to breathe and genuinely live? Are you often confronted with the question of how you may change your chaotic existence into a trip that brings you peace and fulfilling experiences? In this video, we are going to discuss several simple methods of self-care that may have a profound impact on your life. Are we actually striving to improve our well-being, or are we only trying to make it through each day? When we are preoccupied with the demands of life, we often fail to take care of ourselves. What if, however, very little alterations that are made with awareness may provide the impetus for a significant shift in the way we experience life? Imagine if you could transform the activities you undertake on a daily basis into relaxing and stimulating moments. The Stoics teach in us the need of being alert and practicing simplicity. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." I would like to remind you of this profound insight due to the fact that such endeavors are not sustainable. Our objective should not be to completely transform our life in a single day alone. Instead, let's concentrate on creating adjustments that are both modest and realistic. By incorporating these seemingly little routines into our lives on a daily basis, over the course of many weeks and months, they will eventually compound and bring about a big and good change in our lives. Let's get started. One of the most important things to remember is that you should not put rest on the back burner completely. The Stoic misunderstanding that activity is a virtue is something that we often repeat in our efforts to live a life that is satisfying. We pack our days with plenty of activities, and the only time we get to relax is in the few minutes that are left over afterwards. What would happen, however, if we adopted the Stoic approach of placing an emphasis on tranquility? According to the words of Marcus Aurelius, people hunt for getaways for themselves, whether they be in the hills, by the seaside, or in the countryside. It is impossible to locate a more tranquil and trouble-free sanctuary than inside one's own head. There is no other place this can be found. First, let us make time in our schedules for rest, and then we will build our lives around intervals of renewal. This minor alteration has the potential to slow down the frenetic pace of living and cultivate mentality that prioritizes peace over constant activity via its influence. In a practical sense, this may mean adopting a weekly Sabbath, which is an old custom that involves devoting a day completely to rest. This is in accordance with the Stoic concept of living in harmony with nature and with oneself. Alternately, it may be as easy as reserving 1 or 2 nights every week free from commitments in order to relax and refresh oneself. Every day, this may take the form of a focused morning ritual before going to work, or a meaningful break over lunch with the purpose of resetting one's mind. It is impossible for us to achieve rest if we just wait for it to come to us. Through the deliberate prioritization of rest, we establish a solid basis for the practice of complete self-care. Take into consideration the words of Epictetus, who said, "It is not what happens to you that matters. What matters is how you react to it." With this, we are not only responding intelligently to the demands of life, but we are also actively molding our experience of those demands when we make the intentional decision to choose rest and self-care as we go ahead. One more significant step that we can do as we move into the year 2025 is to clean your living area. Stoic philosophy instills in us the need of maintaining simplicity and order in our exterior surroundings, which serves as a mirror of our interior condition. Seneca, a well-known Stoic, held the belief that a congested environment may contribute to mental confusion. In point of fact, several studies have shown that clutter may greatly reduce an individual's capacity to take pleasure in their surroundings. Consequently, decluttering is not only about arranging your home. Rather, it is about creating an atmosphere that encourages serenity and minimizes stress. It is my understanding that the process of decluttering may seem to be overwhelming. Nonetheless, it is important to keep in mind the Stoic ideal of concentrating on what is within your control and taking action in reasonable increments. Marcus Aurelius offered the following piece of advice. The best way to avenge yourself is to not look like that. You should begin by focusing on a single area that seems to be manageable, such as your purse, your automobile, or a certain drawer. Tackling a single, somewhat insignificant area on a daily basis might result in a surprisingly invigorating alteration of the overall room. This method is an embodiment of the Stoic practice of continuous development, which involves making steady progress from where you are to where you want to be. Setting sleep as a top priority is yet another essential component of self-care, as a result of the essential impact that sleep plays in our overall health. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, has discovered that a sizable proportion of individuals are sleep-deprived. In many aspects of life, including rest, Stoics like Epictetus stressed the need of maintaining a state of equilibrium. Consider adopting a regular bedtime, creating an atmosphere that is conducive to rest, and reducing the number of distractions, such as electronic gadgets, in order to improve the quality of your sleep. It is also important to be cautious of the amount of caffeine you consume, and to keep your sleeping temperature at a comfortable level. These are actionable strategies that may help you improve the quality of your sleep, as well as the amount of sleep you get. In spite of this, there are times in our lives when we may not be able to get the best possible sleep, such as when we are about to become parents. Consider the following statement made by Dr. Merrill Miller, an expert on sleep. Sleep serves all aspects of our body, molecular energy balance, as well as intellectual function, alertness, and mood. This statement is particularly pertinent in light of the current circumstances. For both our physical and emotional well-being, sleep is very necessary. When things are difficult, you should do all you can within the limitations you have. Stoicism teaches us that it is not about attaining perfection, but rather about making the most of our existing circumstances and keeping a balanced and thoughtful attitude to the unavoidable swings that are a part of life. Learning how to say no is another habit that might be powerful to adopt as we get closer to the year 2025, because it consists of just 2 characters. This straightforward word may either be a source of enormous power or a burden, depending on how you look at it. The Stoic philosophy places an emphasis on being aware of what is within our control and what is beyond our control. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Epictetus said, "We want to listen twice as much as we speak." One of the most effective exercises for establishing healthy boundaries and ensuring that we do not overcommit our time or resources is to have the ability to say no. It is about matching our behaviors with our beliefs, not out of fear of failing other people, but out of respect for ourselves and the constraints that we have set for ourselves. Attending upcoming appointments is yet another actionable step that may be taken to practice self-care in the new year. Making your health a top priority requires you to take preventative measures in that direction. This is an example of the Stoic ideal of caring for oneself in its whole, and it may be shown in activities such as getting a dental checkup or getting a massage to relieve muscular pain. By making these appointments, you are demonstrating that you are taking responsibility for your health, which is an essential component of leading a life that is both balanced and virtuous. By increasing the amount of reading you do this year, you may also enrich your intellect. Stoicism emphasizes the significance of lifelong education and the development of one's own character. A wise saying attributed to Seneca is that as long as you live, keep learning how to live. A person's comprehension of the world and of himself may be enhanced by reading books, since they provide access to novel concepts and points of view. Therefore, you should think about scheduling a certain amount of time each day for reading, or you may establish a target for the number of books you want to read in a year. Because of this habit, your thinking may be transformed and your understanding can be deepened. As a last step, be sure to stretch regularly to take care of your physical body. When we are under stress, our bodies tend to tense up, which is a reflection of our mental and emotional condition. the stoic practice of achieving harmony between the mind and the whole body may be embodied by a simple stretching regimen that can assist in the release of tension. Pay attention to regions that are often the source of tension, such as the back, the neck, and the shoulders. Not only can this exercise alleviate bodily pain, but it also helps to enhance mental clarity and peace throughout the practice. I hope that these 7 simple but essential techniques to take care of yourself will serve as a source of inspiration and motivation for you. At this point, I would like to ask you, whatever method of self-care are you going to implement? As we part ways, it is important to keep in mind the words of Marcus Aurelius. Very little is required to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking.